I need a bigger Nerf blaster. No, bigger. No, bigger. That won't do it.
Making this bazooka, I originally was thinking about using a plunger type of mechanism where I would slide the darts, I would have a small plunger, and then if I could press that plunger in quick enough, I would launch the device. The problem with this is that this is going to require me to either use a mechanical contraption like a spring or rubber band where I could pull back, and then the reloading mechanism. I didn't want it to be too sophisticated. Using the long stem here, this is a great way of launching these arrows. But then when I did some research, I found this. This here is only like $16. It's called a drain blaster. What's awesome about this is similar to the mega cannon, you're relying on a small air tank to be able to send that air out. So what I've done on this one, I've pretty much finished it with one part. I 3D printed out this here. And what this will do is it slides perfectly into this little gasket connector here. And then after I pump it up, just 3 quick pumps, slide in my dart, and just that alone, this thing shoots quite far. So now from here on out, everything's going to be aesthetic. What I'm planning on doing is I want to turn this into an over-the-shoulder rocket launcher or bazooka. And so from here, the idea would be is I could slide this in, I could then slide the air blaster in place, and then everything else, what I'll do is I'm going to mount around this in a way that it could be, and essentially it will turn into an over-the-shoulder bazooka. But as it stands, just the drain blaster and this 3D printed part, the technical part is already complete. But if you want to build something similar and you don't have a 3D printer, it's going to be a little bit trickier. You might be able to pull it off by using some PVC and some different couplings, as opposed to me being able to hold up one single piece. I got everything printed out. So let's go over the design real quick. I have the 2 tips for the bazooka. This is going to be on the front and the back. I printed 4 of these barrel straps. This is how I'm going to connect the 2 different barrels with the air blaster in the middle. It's going to be glued on one side, screwed in on the other. This scope is one I found online. All of these parts and all the links are going to be in the description. I made this small mount, so this will just slide right on. So that way I'll be able to glue this onto the bazooka itself. And if the scope ever breaks, we'll be able to swap it out. Same thing with the front handle. This is a really cool design I found online, and I just had to print out and design a complementary rail for it to connect into. So again, I'll be gluing this on, and then this here, the design called for M5 by 35 millimeter bolts. Unfortunately, the hardware store was all out of those, so I had to go with the M4 by 35. Should work just fine. Might be a little bit trickier to go in, but that will, these 2 bolts will then hold that together. Of course, I talked about this a little bit earlier, but this is that one component that's going to allow me to shoot the darts. And I got 2 different versions. I got the long dart and the short dart, and both of them work just fine. Make some branding. And then I got 2 different shades. I got flat black and a khaki. So I want to go with the khaki coloring. And now all I have to do is to cut the parts. I'm going to clean them. I'm going to then glue them. And the last thing that I'm going to do is paint them. The reason why I do this is that I've found that if you paint them and then glue them afterwards, the paint can erode and then everything gets loose. So hopefully going in this order, we're going to have a higher quality finish. Here is the assembled version of it. So what I'm going to be doing now is I'm planning on painting the whole entire thing the khaki tan, but I'm going to be doing the handle, the scope, and the tips in a black color, the flat black. So the last thing that I just need to do is I need to put the Supercharged Playtime logo on the side, get that glue drying, and then I'll go ahead and start the painting the parts black that are needed to. And once this thing's fully dry, I'll paint it tan and we're pretty much done. It is still drying, but here is the final view of it. So scope and position, we'll load the darts, and then the pump down here by the handle, the military grade Coloring looks a bit almost too realistic, so I'm really happy that with the side branding of the Supercharged Playtime, and the darts will stick out the front. So hopefully it is very obvious that this is just a fun toy. Odin gets back in a little bit, and I'm excited to unveil it to him. Turn around.
Yeah.
Like that, and then hand out here. Do you want to go fire it in the yard?
Yeah. How do you get the orange
Ready?
ones? Do you make the orange ones?
No, I bought those.
Bought them?
Okay. All right, 9, 10, let's go 11. Ready? Careful with the trigger. All right, all you, buddy. Aim and then fire. Whoa! We're way out into the street.
Let's go get it together.
Let's do it, buddy. Let's go.